is that ones who are most successful usually have the least amount of clothes on. You ever notice that? So I'm thinking about doing the show tonight in my briefs. And I think,
Please no.
Now, I'm thinking about it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking about it, Chris, because I'm serious.
Oh, boy.
I see these things pop up on Twitter, and, they call themselves social media influencers. They got 1.6 million, 2.7 million followers. They make gobs and gobs of money, and they're sitting around in their bikinis or their whatever the case may be. I'm thinking about doing the same thing. If it works for them, it can work for us.
I think of the three of us, Pat has the best chance to make money in that regard.
Careful now. Careful. You think it's his flaming red hair?
I think that helps. And Pat's just a good-looking guy. You and I are past our prime, unfortunately.
Oh, wait a minute.
Once you go over 50, brother.
Don't include me in your assessment, all right? Don't include me in your assessment. There's nothing wrong with shiny silver hair, okay? Nothing wrong with
Agreed.
That's just a sign of experience. That's all. Sign of experience. But now the influencing part, though, we are South Carolina sports media influencers. Indeed. I'll give you that. So for what that's worth, and if we have to sit in our underwear to attract more audience, we'll do whatever it takes. But we're fully clothed tonight. Okay, didn't go there yet. We are fully clothed, but we are fully loaded on this Wednesday night. What a great show for you! A little bit after 7:00, number 7 will join us. His number to be retired by Clemson on Saturday. Jack Leggett, the Hall of Fame baseball coach. Looking forward to having Coach Leggett back with us here on Sports Talk. Meantime, we'll hear from USC coach Mark Kingston. He and Will Sanders met with the media today to preview the big series at Vanderbilt. I mean, look at South Carolina sitting there as high as number 3, and they played number 1 last week. They're playing number 4 this week. They've got Florida coming up around the corner. They're like number, 2 or 3. This is some run of games. And, they played number 13, North Carolina, last week and beat them. This is some run of games. It's unfortunate for the Gamecocks that Noah Hall now is out for an unspecified amount of time. So now you're down a starting pitcher. You are down a starting second baseman. You are, your DH is starting to come back from an injury, so you're getting him back in the lineup some. This is the one thing you hope to avoid, especially with your arms, guys going down, especially in these critical series. So you have to hope that your bullpen can step up. You can fill that number 3 spot successfully and win enough of these games and win series to keep yourself in great shape so that when Hall comes back and everybody else stays healthy, you start looking at the postseason and you've got everybody on deck. Meantime, Clemson gets a very nice win. Here come the Tigers, Chris. They're starting to put it together.
They looked really good last night, too. And I realized Georgia is not having the type of season that I think folks anticipated the Bulldogs would have when the year began. And I'm not sure anybody knew exactly what to expect out of Clemson this year with the coaching change. But, they've started to get hot. Now, can they translate this? They played well in the midweek for, a month and a half now. Their problem has been translating it over to ACC play. And here comes Notre Dame into town. You'll have all the emotions over the weekend with Coach Leggett getting his jersey retired. A lot going on, and this is a series that Clemson needs to go back-to-back with. They need to win this series after beating Florida State last weekend and start building some momentum and maybe get in the conversation now of being on the bubble for an NCAA at-large berth.
Yeah, exactly right. You got to put series win on top of series win to do that. So we got all that coming up, and it's the RBC Heritage, which begins in the morning. A lot of South Carolina connections in the tournament field. And, of course, this is one of the select tournaments, the PGA Tour designated tournament. So the money is way up, and the total purse is like over $20 million. And that means you're going to have an elite field. I think like 14 of the top 17 in the world are in the field, including Masters champion Jon Rahm, including defending champion Jordan Spieth. It hurt that Rory McIlroy withdrew last week after the Masters, after missing the cut at the Masters, and he withdraws from this. I don't know if it was a mental thing, an emotional thing, or he's got something that's hurting him. George Bryan, who has played inside the ropes in the heritage in the past as a professional PGA pro. He's been in that field before. He knows what it's like. He's there. Of course, his son Wesley's in the field. So they'll be joining us, or he'll be joining us a little bit later on. And we'll hear from Jon Rahm and perhaps Jordan Spieth if we have time. But definitely Jon Rahm, who met with the media today at Harbortown for the first time since leaving Augusta with his green jacket, which he says he does have with him, but he just doesn't take it out and just wear it anywhere and everywhere. But he does have the green jacket with him that he won at Augusta next week. So we got all that coming at you. And an update on Major League Baseball. It's getaway day. A lot of afternoon baseball today. We'll tell you about that. We'll keep an eye on the college baseball scoreboard as well. Anything else on your mind, sir?
I was thinking about Jon Rahm and his Masters jacket. If you're invited out to a fancy dinner, you and your wife, and maybe you leave the kids at home so you get a babysitter, and were he to win this weekend as well, go back-to-back and win Augusta and then win down at Harbortown, would you wear the green jacket out if it's a place where you have to wear a sport coat, or do you break out the tartan jacket and try and be a little snazzy in your fashion? Because, Europeans seem to be a little more in tune with fashion than we are here in the United States.
Well, he doesn't have a tartan jacket just yet.
No, that's what I said. If he were to win this weekend.
If he were to win, yeah. If you want to impress your family and friends, I think you break out the green jacket.
I would agree. But if you want to catch somebody's eye, the tartan jacket certainly does it.
Yeah,
right?
hard to look past that. So, okay. So what else is going on? Chase Elliott is back. He's going to race this weekend at Martinsville in the number 9. So he is back, and NASCAR has approved a waiver for him to remain championship eligible. So what do you think about that?
I will be curious to see how he does. He hasn't been in the car for a couple of weeks, and how much, the pressure is certainly on Hendrick Motorsports here the past couple of weeks, because it appears all they do is cheat now. And you're going to get your most popular driver, probably your best driver in that stable, back in the mix going into Martinsville. If Chase Elliott were to win this weekend, I can almost guarantee you the 9 will be on the hauler going right back to R&D as soon as that race is over. So I'd be interested to see how quickly he gets back to racing form, especially considering it was a lower leg, if I remember correctly, a leg injury. And, driving the car with a bum leg, bum knee, or whatever the case, bum foot, not the easiest thing to do, especially on a short track where you've got to brake a whole lot more than you would, say, next weekend at Talladega.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Martinsville is one of those tracks that really wears out your brakes. Yep. So you got to come off the gas, get on the brakes a lot, and that could be a factor for him as he tries to get back to health. What else? The USC women's basketball team at Notre Dame are going to open the 2023-24 college basketball season. I'm assuming that's for men and women. They're going to be the first teams to play November 6th.
Yeah.
And that's going to be in Paris, not Paris, Kentucky. We're talking
Texas.
About, not Paris, Texas. We're talking about the Paris, Gay Paris in France. How about that?
I think it's fascinating that this has worked out. It's a little odd. I will say this, because normally when you see the international play in college basketball, it's always a tournament type setting. You go to the Bahamas, like South Carolina's women have done numerous times, or you go out to Hawaii to play in the Maui Classic, or the old school, Great Alaska Shootout, or some of the preseason, pre-conference tournaments that we see in the month of November. This is unique from the standpoint it's just 2 basketball teams, and it will be the first time that a NCAA regular season game has ever taken place in Paris. I don't know how much the French, because they like their basketball over there, they produce some outstanding NBA players over the years. But I don't know how in tune they are with women's basketball in the United States, especially at the collegiate level. But having South Carolina come over, and certainly Notre Dame come over, 2 teams that have won national championships, I think it's great. I wish, though, they could have gotten maybe 2 or 4 other teams to go with them and make it sort of a round-robin tournament to tip off the season. But maybe baby steps here.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard they're not going to be paid in dollars. They're going to be paid in croissants.
If you've ever had French cooking, you'd probably say that's fine.
I've never been to France. I've had a lot of French fries and French pastry and French bread, but never been to France. That's on my bucket list of things to do when I get that opportunity. You've been over there before.
I have.
Yeah.
I actually have.
You're almost a native, right? You're almost native status?
Called it a week over there 25 years ago or 30 years ago, I think it was now. But yeah, it's a beautiful city, and it's well-deserved reputation for the sights and also the food. It's like going to New Orleans. You can't go to New Orleans without sampling the local cuisine. You can't go to France without sampling the local Parisian cuisine. And I'm sure both teams have a dynamite time. I mean, that's the one great thing about college. Everybody can get a degree, but the experience itself of being a collegiate athlete or just being in college itself, I think is more than, at least to me, was a whole lot more fun and more interesting than just getting your journalism degree, your business degree, or whatever it was. So I think this, especially being during the first of the regular season, I think it's going to be a great trip for both teams. I'm envious. I'd love to go over there myself. Can Sports Talk foot the bill to send all four of us over there, and we can broadcast live from Paris?
From the Eiffel Tower.
On the top, there's a restaurant up there.
Yeah. Do they have internet
from the restaurant?
Do they have working internet?
That's a good question. I would assume so.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. We'll go from the SEC Media Days to Paris. That would be a lot of fun. But, yeah, it's a great, unique opportunity for the South Carolina women's and Notre Dame. But from our standpoint, for the South Carolina women, it's a tribute to what Dawn Staley has built. It's a tribute to her star power and her reputation to be able to get her team, because this came out of the blue. I hadn't heard any rumors or seen any breaking stories in advance that this was coming down. So they got this done pretty quietly. We're keeping an eye on the recruiting front here because a player South Carolina has been recruiting, Tank Booker, a transfer from Maryland, is supposed to announce today, he has said, where he's going next. But so far, he's not announced anything on his Instagram or his Twitter. South Carolina, Arkansas, Ohio State, Purdue, and those are the primary. Those are four of the primary ones for him. He's 320 pounds. If you're South Carolina, you're looking to replace Pickens inside, and you need some bulk in there. You need a guy that could be a run stopper for you. This is kind of what he was at Maryland. Texas A&M was the other school. Gamecocks, A&M, Purdue, Ohio State, and Arkansas. 6'4", 320 pounds. In his career, he played 24 games, had 37 tackles, 6 tackles for loss. But I imagine at 6'4", 320, they just wanted him to occupy the center and the guard, take on those double teams, and let the linebackers flow in behind him and make plays, would be my guess. So no word from him yet. We continue to monitor that, and we'll let you know if something breaks. In the meantime, we can go ahead and jump to some phone calls. The phone number is 888-898-2525. Just a reminder, that's a special number here on Sports Talk because we honor the great Rick Sanford with the 2525, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, and since 2002, more than $4.2 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to fund scholarships and grants for South Carolina students. Learn more about the lottery's impact at scheducationlottery.com/educationwins. And playing for fun is a win for education. Pat's getting the calls lined up, so we'll get to you in just a moment. NBA playoffs continue tonight, and I'm into it. I like the NIT play-in tournament that they have. The Lakers last night, I was rooting like hell against them. But they managed to overcome a 15-point lead against that Minnesota had, 15 or so points. And what a finish. I mean, they hit a three with 1.2 seconds left. Looks like you got the game in the bag. Minnesota calls timeout. They move the ball to the forecourt, and they get a shot. It was the little left-handed guard, Conley, from the deep corner that was not going to go in. It was not going to go in. And Anthony Davis, after the shot, just knocks him down. And he gets 3 free throws. He makes them all to force overtime. And then the Lakers won in overtime.
When you're up 3 with less than 3 seconds left to go, what do, Phil? You foul long before the guy can get the shot off.
Yeah.
You would think NBA teams would know this. And it just boggles my mind how many times that kind of stupid stuff happens because teams don't understand time score and how to play a late second scenario.
They just plowed into
Anthony Davis hoping to do? Block that shot from 22 feet?
He didn't come close to blocking, and his momentum carried him into the shooter, and he couldn't stop himself. I just retweeted this for Braves fans. Today, April 12th, 50 years ago, 1966, the Atlanta Braves were welcomed to the city of Atlanta. Well, they were the Milwaukee Braves, and they were welcomed to the city of Atlanta for their inaugural season. And they had a parade through downtown Atlanta out to Fulton County Stadium. I guess it was called Atlanta Stadium back then. And 50,671 on hand. You know who the first opponent was for the Atlanta Braves?
Well, I know it wasn't Milwaukee, so I can eliminate one team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the Dodgers.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
How about that?
Well, they wanted to make sure the Braves got a win. So they said, "What's an automatic? What's an automatic win for you?" That would be
so
the
this
Pirates.
was not the late 70s Pirates.
No, this was the 66.
Early 80s. Okay.
66 Pirates. So, okay, shall we go to phone calls? 888-898-2525. We go to, Gamecock Larry batting leadoff for us again tonight. Gamecock Larry, welcome in. By the way, what a softball game between USC and Clemson last night. The Tigers in the top of the seventh, a 2-out, 2-strike, 3-run homer by the superstar, Cagle. And they beat the Gamecocks to remain lifetime undefeated against USC in baseball. Welcome in, Larry. How are you?
I was okay before I heard that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to spoil your day.
But Mr. Field, I want to make something. I want to. It seems like you think I'm a drinker or something. But I quit. I used to drink. I used to drink about 3 cases of Pabst Blue Ribbon, smoke about a half a carton of Pall Malls. But I quit that. I quit all that.
Did you smoke Pall Malls with the filter or without the filter?
Well, I smoked it without the filter.
Ooh.
Drank black coffee without sugar. But let me tell you, August the 3rd, 1997, and I was a smoker and I was a drinker. But I just decided I had to quit because I wasn't getting nowhere. And I quit cold turkey. I quit cold turkey. But let me say something about the baseball. I was laying here and I heard the first 2 home runs we got. Had my radio plugged into my ear. Well, this cord plugged into my ear. And I must have dozed off because the next thing I heard was old Derek Scott. I think that was what it is. Derek Scott holler, "You can put spurs on this one." And that's what they usually say when the game's over. You don't say that if you lose. So I knew we won, but I didn't know. I fell asleep, I guess, bottom of the first inning, slept through the whole game. And I had to wake up and I heard him say, "We can put spurs on that one."
Well, they did hit back-to-back. They hit back-to-back home runs in the first. Then they had their next 4 runs, believe it or not, because that put them up 3-0, and then their remaining 4 runs all came on bases loaded walks. So they had 4 bases loaded walks that forced in 4 runs, and their pitching was excellent. They got a little bit. Braswell got a little bit. He lost his focus, his concentration there in the 9th and made 2 mistakes at second base that allowed a run to score. But the Gamecocks had that one pretty much in hand the whole way. Okay,
then I want to say something about the Tigers. Now, the Georgia Bulldogs won a series from Kentucky. Kentucky's been pretty much there in the lead in the SEC, maybe up until last week, but the Bulldogs won the series 2 out of 3, and then the Clemson Tigers go up and beat the Bulldogs 8-7, 8-1.
8-1 last night.
Okay, well that's good. But that's about all I got to say. But no, I don't drink. I used to. Well, I did. I used to drink. I used to get 2 and 3 cases of beer in the back of my car from the Class 4 store. And I'd have me a big old Mermite can in my room, and I kept beer on ice all weekend. And I'd stay in my room. I wouldn't go nowhere because I was scared. But I quit all that.
Well,
I turned out to be a pretty good boy.
Yes, you did, and you're still kicking at the ripe old age of what? 80 what?
I'm 88. I'll be 89 August the 1st.
Well, fantastic. It's great to hear from you. Keep in touch, and we appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Keith in Camden. Next with us here on Sports Talk. I'm not sure Keith was a smoker or a drinker back in the day since he's a preacher. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
Hey, Phil, Chris, how you doing?
Doing great.
Great.
He Gamecock Larry is like all those former Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch drinkers that have, in the last week, given up beer drinking due to their advertisement, but we won't go there. Yeah. Hey, question.
Yes.
The young man, the running back from Newberry, is he on campus practicing yet?
Oh, yeah. He's at,
Okay.
Not only is he on campus practicing, he's making noise in camp.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's mainly what I called. I try to listen, but I don't know. Just missed that. Been busy last week being Holy Week. What kind of feedback are you hearing on him?
Very positive from the coaches who have talked about him, from Beamer, assistant coaches, players. They say that not only does he have size superior to Division II level, but overall talent superior to where he was at Division II level at Newberry. So he's fit right in. Right now, I would say that Juju McDowell is probably the clear starter. DeCarrion Joyner's getting a lot of work as they try to transition him. And then you've got Anderson competing as well. They'll have Braswell coming in. I don't think Braswell's not there yet. I don't believe, the freshman. So he'll be coming in. Right. He'll be competing as well. So that's a stable of 4. And if they get the clearance from the NCAA, if he gets another year for the other running back who transferred from Columbia last year, who walked on, the real fast running back whose name escapes me.
Yeah.
If they get clearance from him, I don't believe that he has been cleared at this point. At least Beamer hasn't said anything. That would give them another. And of course, with the Portal John opening up on April the 15th, you can go shopping in there again and see if there's another running back that you like that might fit into your situation. I'm talking about let's see. Well, I can't find his name. Oh, I can't find his name. I'll have to go back. Remember the player, Chris, the transfer from Columbia, who walked on at South Carolina? Name escapes me.
I think it got us all.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up here on Google. But anyway, that's kind of what they're looking at right now.
Yeah. Okay. What Juju? What's his weight? What does he weigh in at?
His current weight? Oh, by the way, it's Dante Miller, little turbo. Yeah, Dante Miller, who's a North Carolina kid and is now at South Carolina. Let's see, the weight of, I'll have to look up and see what they list him at on the roster.
Yeah, didn't he struggle running between the tackles?
Well, he's a guy that if you can get out in space, that's where he's going to do most of his damage because he is fast.
Okay, well, I know y'all got a break.
180. They list him at 180. List him at 180. After a biscuit, they list him at 181. Thank you very much. Good hearing from you. We'll continue in a moment.
Possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Clear and not as cool with a low dipping down to 49 tomorrow. Another warm day with more sun early and clouds. High 80. There's a 30% chance of an evening shower. Friday is the rain out with showers and some storms likely. A bit cooler too with a high of 74. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hi, I'm Mary Catherine.
And I'm Thomas.
From Louisiana Purchase. Inside our restaurant,
where we serve authentic New Orleans cuisine,
we have Cypress Corner. It's an art gallery and gift shop.
It's right next to the menu board of our daily specials.
We feature local artists, jewelry,
sandwiches, hot dishes,
housewares, and gifts that are perfect for any occasion.
Warm bread pudding, beignets, and homemade pralines.
Thomas.
What? We're a restaurant.
And a gift shop. Cypress Corner inside Louisiana Purchase. St. Andrews Road in Irmo. And at louisianapurchase.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a Virginia teacher who was shot and wounded in her first grade classroom by a 6-year-old student has been honored by the state Senate for her heroic actions in hustling students out of the classroom despite having life-threatening injuries. Abby Werner stood with her twin sister, brother, and mother at the Senate chamber Wednesday, and she was given a framed resolution commending her for her devotion to the safety of her students. Police have said that after the January 6th shooting at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News, Zwerner ushered her students to safety and was the last to leave the classroom. She collapsed in a school office and spent 2 weeks in the hospital. No one else was hurt. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 38 points. The Nasdaq dropped 102. The S&P 500 lower by 16. More details at srnnews.com.
Shooter's Choice in West Columbia is bringing Manufacturers Weekends to you the entire month of April. Interested in home defense? No problem. It's this weekend, and we'll bring home defense and perfect concealed carry models all at special manufacturer April discounts. So call ahead to get a weekend schedule and don't miss a perfect opportunity to test fire any of these products on sale each weekend. Shotguns, silencers, handguns. Come by and meet the manufacturer and test out their products. Shooter's Choice makes April a great month to shop for your upcoming hunting adventures. Hunt that gobbler with a new shotgun or build that perfect wild hog rifle with a thermal night vision scope and a silencer. Or getting started on home defense and personal protection. Spring is here, so make it special for any of your hunting, firearms, or accessories. 944 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia or online at shooterschoicesc.com. Make your first choice your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Hi, I'm Karen Pickard.
And I'm Katie Griner.
Every Tuesday at 8:30 to 9 a.m., we'll be talking about issues that concern seniors and their families.
So join us right here on The Point Radio for the Positive Points on Aging, brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
The pipes burst, you're getting the repairs done. Now it's time for your flooring. This is where the flooring department shines. We don't have a huge multi-million-dollar showroom, but we all buy from the same manufacturers. So why pay more? We're locally owned and have 30 years experience in the flooring industry, and we stand by our work. Get tremendous customer service and great pricing with the flooring department, 951-3567, or online at theflooringdepartment.com. That's 951-3567 or 951-FLOR, the flooring department.
Excuse me, would you like some expert advice on how to reduce your energy usage and save money?
Absolutely.
Did you know that Dominion Energy offers its residential electric customers a free home energy checkup?
Really? What's included?
A customized energy report and free installation of energy-saving products for eligible customers.
Does it take long?
An hour or two at most.
So how do I sign up?
Go to DominionEnergySC.com and click Save Energy.
DominionEnergySC.com. Here I come. Thanks for the tip.
Certain restrictions apply.
It's time for the Columbia Animal Shelter Spring Fling. The weather has changed. It's time to get outside and play. So bring home a new fur baby. How about giving a dog or a cat a new family? The Spring Fling brings you free adoptions through the 8th. Give a puppy or a kitty cat a home and brighten up your spring season. Visit petfinder.com and rescue a loving pet. Free adoptions through the 8th. Be a hero. Find your new family member at petfinder.com.
Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on The Point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto State. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
We are back on Sports Talk Media Network. 888-898-2525 is the number. Craig, listening to us on the stream, sends us a question about Jayshawn Barham, who had a great year at linebacker for Maryland. So he says Tank Booker must have done a great job last year, and he hopes the Gamecocks get him. About an hour ago, Booker tweeted, "Coming soon." So I guess we're not too far away from getting some kind of an answer from him. And let's see. Craig also asked if we're going to go cover the USC women in Paris. So
I'm all for it.
Well, if Craig wants to pay, Craig, if you'll sponsor the trip, we'll say this coverage
I'm all for it.
of the USC women in Paris, brought to you by Craig. Be more than happy to zip over there. What is it, about a 5-hour flight, maybe 5-hour flight from?
Well, that's from probably New York.
Can you get there direct from Columbia? From Columbia to
I don't think so.
Paris?
I'm wondering if you can get there direct from Charlotte. You would think so. It's an international airport. Well, so is Columbia, but
no, Columbia's not international. There's nothing.
Columbia's not international?
Hell no. No.
Not like Florence International over
here? You can't
here?
even get Spirit or Frontier to fly into Columbia, for crying out loud. You think they're going to fly to a foreign country?
That's a shame.
Yeah. No, it's not. It is not international in Columbia. It's a metro, Columbia Metro
Right, yeah.
airport.
So you'd end
Now,
up going to
Charleston is
Atlanta or
listed
Charlotte.
as an international. Charleston's international. You can go from Charleston to, like, I think London or something like that. But
Myrtle Beach, I think, is international.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. They claim to be international as well. So anyway, we'll take that under advisement.
Great.
888-898-2525. We'll hear from Mark Kingston coming up. Jack Leggett after the top of the hour. George Bryan's down at the RBC Heritage. We'll hear from John Rahm. We got recruiting for you. Back to your phone calls. As we do that, let me update the Major League Baseball scoreboard, by the way. Yankees beat Cleveland today 4-3. Clark Schmidt started that game. He's in the Yankees rotation. He has started 3 games. He's not been good in any of the 3. He's hanging in there. He's got to pick it up, or they're not going to keep him in the rotation much longer. He has been hit hard in all 3 of his starts. But the Yankees rallied today. He left them with a 3-0 deficit. Yankees rallied to win 4-3 to win another series. That got heard on the Yankee broadcast. This is the first time in their history, I think Michael Kay said, that the Yankees have opened the season by winning 4 consecutive series. Think about that.
There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true.
That's what he said. That's what
You're
he said.
going to tell me the 27 Yankees didn't win their first 4 series of the season?
Listen, I'm just repeating what I heard on television. We can look it up.
Michael Kay should know better than I, but I just cannot believe that's true. With some of the teams that the Yankees have had, powerhouse teams in the 60s, there's just I find that very hard to believe. But, yeah, again, hard to argue with Michael Kay, who's been around that team since I think they played in the 27 series. But,
I'm looking through their game notes.
That team didn't.
I'm looking through their post-game notes or the post-game story to see if the writer has included that. I'll have to – that's what I heard. I don't want to say something.
Amazing. If that's correct, that is
here,
amazing.
but I'm telling you, that's what he said. We'll have to do a Google search on that just to be sure. But it's always good when the Yankees win in the daytime. It puts me in a good mood. So the Yankees won today. That was good. Miami and Philadelphia in the 10th, 2-2. We've got let's see here. The Mets won today. You can find that score. Well, Houston beat Pittsburgh 7-0. Mets beat the Padres 5-2. Twins over the White Sox 3-1. Mariners beat the Cubs 5-2. And Cardinals beat Rocky 7-4. D-backs over the Brewers 7-3. Angels beat the Nationals 3-2. Okay, to the phones we go. Andy in Columbia, you're up next with us here on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good.
So far, so good.
Now, I kind of missed it because Pat had picked up on the phone when you were saying it. What's the word on tank?
The word is there is no word.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure if you heard something that
still waiting. We're still waiting with bated breath.
Jeez. Okay. A couple of recruiting questions, and then I have a comment or two about these new baseball rules.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in the men's basketball program with the portal? Doesn't seem like anybody wants to enter our portal door.
Well, they've got 2. They got the transfer from Citadel, transfer from Minnesota, so they got 2.
Like I said, it doesn't seem like anybody wants to come through our portal door. The kid that went to Cincinnati, he's not going to be able to play this year, is he?
He'll have to get a waiver.
They're going to give him a waiver from going for what reason?
I don't know. They'll have to get a
Because
waiver.
everybody gets a waiver now, Andy. That's the reason.
You know what got me, too, was in the article, he said he was originally at UCF, right?
Correct.
But he was looking to come back to UCF again. I mean,
hey, I can't think for the guys. It is what it is. It is what they say they're doing and why they're doing it. I mean, he visited South Carolina coming out of high school. No, I take that back. He visited South Carolina. Yeah, when he was going to transfer the first time, and but
well, my question is this: why do you take a kid like that? Because probably next year he's going to transfer again. I mean,
well, supposedly you can't without sitting out a year. But I mean, he's already done the two-time transfer thing, so we'll see if the NCAA keeps his feet to the fire here.
Now, are we going to have should we open a Finnish restaurant here in Columbia?
You might if those three guys come their way. I don't know. The other two are in the 24 class, so you got a little more time on them. But I think they've got a shot at those two, the high schoolers. I think they've got a decent shot there. And then the transfer from Dayton, more schools are getting in on him after he took a couple of other official visits. So that's kind of a wait and see deal.
And the kid from Walford, Mack, right?
Yeah, BJ Mack. He's going to be taking some official visits now.
Well, I read something from LSU, and LSU almost sounded like last weekend that they thought they were bringing him home to LSU.
Yeah, they all think that every time they get a guy in for a visit, they all think they're getting him.
Okay, now my baseball comments.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all kind of getting the feeling that I'm seeing out here that with this new pitch clock and the way the innings are so much shorter, that starting pitchers, I mean, they weren't going very long anyway now, that they're probably going to go even less time because they're getting less time in the dugout to rest between the innings? I mean, sometimes when these guys go 3 up and 3 down now, they're in that dugout for less than 5 minutes, these pitchers.
Yeah. It's a good question. Does that wear them down or does it keep them loose?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's bothering Scherzer, and it's bothering some other pitchers. And, they're not used to it.
Yeah.
But one last comment, and I've said this before. I think.
But let me say this: pitchers like to play fast. Pitchers like to work fast.
They do,
don't they? Generally speaking,
not all of them.
Well, don't you think most of them do? And defenses like it when they work fast. They like defenders don't like lag time between pitches. It gets them back on their heels. If the pitcher's working quickly, it keeps them on their toes.
I'm not, Phil. I think that they like to, when they get into a jam and stuff like that, they like to get off the mound and walk around the mound and recompose themselves, which they're not able to do anymore. If they get a bad call, they like to walk away. They can't do that anymore. I think that the rule changes are all offensively based, and that's what I was going to say. Is I really, really love the no shift. I'll tell you what, if you can really see athleticism in your shortstop and second basemen now, and it makes the game, I think, so much better and so much more exciting to be able to see a good shortstop, instead of playing over on the second base side, be able to come from his shortstop position over on the second base side and pick that ball up and throw to first, or maybe flip it back over to a second baseman for a double play. I just think it's a lot more exciting baseball, opening it up a lot more, and I just find it tremendous.
I couldn't agree more. I think everything they've done is a positive. These games that are finishing up in 2:45, maybe touching 3 hours, I think that's great. That's great for the consumer. At first, I was like, let's
3 hours. It's less than that, Phil. I said to a friend today,
but I mean, you can't expect every game to be 2:45. They're going to be touching 3 hours in some cases.
Phil, now the pregame show and the postgame show are longer than the actual game.
Especially if you're listening to the Braves on radio.
I was going to say, on the Braves network, my God. They waste more time talking about nothing than any other baseball network I've ever heard. I mean, the Yankees, for crying out loud, they're a half hour in and 15 minutes after, and they're gone. I don't know why the Braves have this view of themselves that people need to listen to them for 3 hours total around a 3 hour ball game.
Well, the good thing about the Mets is they go and do interviews with Buck and the pitchers and you get about 6 or 7 interviews at post game.
Yeah.
From the game that went on,
I
which
get
I
that.
enjoy watching.
I get that. But no, I think the rules are good. I'm not so sure I'm sold on, and we got to run, Andy. Thank you very much. Not so sure I'm sold on this scheduling format, Chris, where basically, it started off, you play American League teams, you play a few games against National League teams, the interleague schedule, is a little bit here. And that grew, and now that's just been totally blown up. I mean, you're just playing everybody. It's a rotating schedule. I don't know. I mean, we've just pretty much killed the longtime standing tradition of Major League Baseball of the American League, National League. It might as well just be one league now, or just division.
It can be.
Just be one division.
Well, and it can be now because you've added the DH and the NL, which I don't understand at all. I don't know why you can't have pitchers hit. Throughout their high school career, they were the best athlete in the world on their team. And then magically they get to college and can't bat anymore. I don't quite get that. I wish the NL would have stuck to their guns and kept the DH out of it. But anyway, but you're right. And it's the case that happens so often. You get a little bit of dose of a good thing, and then we want more and more and more. And I think I agree with you on the interleague play. I thought it was great when they first instituted it. I thought it'd be fun to watch the Yankees and Mets Subway Series. But now there's so much of it now. The Cubs and White Sox got to play, but you see so much of it, it's not even fun anymore. It's overblown, and it's basically, you're right. Just have Major League Baseball. You almost don't even need to have National and American leagues. Just the conglomerate of 30-plus teams.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, on the Yankees thing, I did go back and look at the 1927 Yankees, which would be the blueprint for success. 110 wins. They lost their third series of the season to the Philadelphia Athletics.
So there you go.
Michael K may be right.
I think he's right.
K may be right.
I think I heard him right.
I mean, it's really amazing, though.
I think I heard him right. All right, thank you for the phone call. Let's go to the break, and we'll come back and hear from USC baseball coach Mark Kingston. Met with the media today. The Gamecocks hitting the road to go to Vanderbilt. Probably going to see, in all likelihood, 3 left-handed starters for Vandy. Vandy's won like 15 of their last 16 games. They were a little sluggish getting out of the gate and suffered 5 of their losses in February and March, but they've gotten it right, 11-1 in SEC play. We'll hear from Kingston coming up.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
Score a touchdown with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership. Relax with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years of NASCAR gone by. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour. Have you ever? No, I've never. You don't have to imagine it. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, May 12th through the 14th. Get your tickets today at darlingtonraceway.com.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to FutureScholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. FutureScholar.com.
Have you turned on the fun? Track Cash Pop from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Pick one number from 1 to 15, win up to $2,500, or play all 15 numbers, and you're guaranteed to win. Play twice a day to double your fun. It really is that easy. Visit SCEducationLottery.com to get the details. Cash Pop. It's the light of the party.
All right, USC baseball coach Mark Kingston met with the media today, and the Gamecocks getting ready to head to Nashville for a big showdown, another SEC showdown. Last time it was LSU. This time it was Vanderbilt. Last night they beat Upstate to improve their record to 29-4. Here are the comments from Kingston and then some questions.
Yeah, again, building off of last night, good Tuesday midweek game for us, another win. But now, again, we're back on the weekend. Great team we're playing in the SEC. Seems like we say that every week. So we're going to prepare well today and tomorrow and try to play our best baseball this weekend.
What's kind of the pitching look like for you guys? Do you have a sense yet of what it might look like rotation-wise and any health updates with those guys?
Rotation-wise, yeah, we'll announce it very soon. We've already announced that Hall will not be a part of it this weekend, but I think you can probably anticipate the rest of it based on what we did last weekend.
Mark, if you do end up going TBA on Sunday, how do you kind of evaluate the characteristics you're looking for in that Game 3 starter? Does starting experience matter? Just what are some things that you'll look for as you try to set up that pitching for Game 3?
Well, I think you can kind of, figure out, you guys know us well enough now to know who the candidates would be. Guys, I don't anticipate us starting anybody in that game that hasn't started a game already this year. So you can kind of figure out who those candidates are. A lot of it just has to do with who do you need to use in Friday and Saturday's games. It's just a use of resources, and you know who you have left, you know who has starting experience, and so that's really what it comes down to.
Vanderbilt in their 20 whatever games coming into conference play, they were at the bottom of the SEC in most every offensive category. Now they're top in the SEC in league play in basically every offensive category. In your scouting of them, what have you seen that's changed? What's made them go a little bit more in league play than early in the year?
Yeah, it's a good question. We haven't dug into it a ton. We're just getting started now this morning, so I'd hate to give you too strong an opinion on any reason why. But I know they have good players. Again, they're hitting. It's not like they were hitting 220. They're hitting 290 overall now, so it's a good team. They run a lot. Obviously, Bradfield's a big part of that. But I can't give you a concrete reason why they turn the corner offensively. But sometimes it just takes time. Sometimes a cold weather school takes a little more time to get their bats warm. It's hard to say, but I can't really give you that answer yet.
I know you just said you haven't gotten all the way into it yet, but their pitching staff, especially those lefties, what kind of challenges that present? And do you have to kind of go about building your lineup differently when you might see three lefties in 3 days?
Well, it'll be the first time we faced, potentially three lefties. I think we're still waiting to get that confirmed. I think they went right, left last week, but we're waiting. I think they're waiting to see what they're going to do with Holton at this point. But if they do throw three lefties, obviously our lineup tweaks a little bit based on that. We have the ability to match up a little bit. We don't have a ton of extras right now, so our lineup is pretty close to what it is. But there are probably one or two spots where we could tweak it if we need to. But it's three quality lefties. Their pitching is obviously a very strong point of their team, so we're going to have to take great at bats all weekend.
Gavin's probably had maybe an up and down start to league play at least. What have you seen from him in terms of teams maybe pitching to him, and how do you maybe guard against him getting maybe a little bit too emotional going back to Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I think, again, he'll be going back to Vanderbilt for the first time. I think everybody handles that differently. I think the key for him is to just try to, as best he can, treat it as baseball, and he's a Gamecock, and he's going back to play another good team, and just try to handle that the best you can. But there'll be some emotions for him. He's human, and there'll be some emotions there. As it relates to how he's being pitched, teams are trying to pound him in right now. You're seeing a lot of hit by pitches with him recently. So teams are trying to pound him in. And that's the great thing about baseball, is it becomes a chess match. He adjusted to them early on. They've adjusted back. Now it's his turn to adjust and sit on certain pitches and do some damage, so that they feel like they have to make another adjustment. So that's the beauty of baseball, is that pitchers and hitters are always adjusting to each other.
Just to go back to last night real quick, in the ninth inning, the little defensive meltdown in the infield.
Always positive, Phil. I love that. Always positive.
That's me, Mr. Positive. No, what did you have to say a little something to Braswell or anything? Did that come up in post game conversation? Just maybe a little loss of concentration there.
Well, it's the whole team. Again, one of the things that the great teams possess is the ability to finish strong for the entire 27 outs, and we will focus on that. I didn't focus on it in the post game. I've limited my post game speeches to very minimal now, spending much more time the following day to really focus on what needs to be focused on. And our overall attention to detail late in that game, will be addressed to the entire team today.
Obviously, this is a huge stretch you guys are going after weekend, no breaks off. So beyond the win column, what's sort of the biggest thing you're looking to learn about this team as they go through this difficult stretch?
Well, I think I just want to learn that they're going to continue to evolve and improve as the season goes on. We are who we are right now. We have strengths, we have weaknesses, and the key is to try to continue to improve and minimize your weaknesses and make sure that you are consistent with your strengths. And so from a learning your team standpoint, we have a few guys that, we need to continue to see where their roles evolve, especially out of the bullpen. But for the most part, I think we kind of know who we are. And now it's just a matter of improving the areas that it's necessary and maintaining the consistency, because there's some areas where we are excellent, and it's just a matter of maintaining that.
A couple of things on Bradfield. How have you seen him evolve as a player over the course of his career? And he's got 29 stolen base attempts, 25 successful. But Cole has been pretty good lately in throwing guys out. Got a couple of speedy guys at Mississippi State. How do you anticipate trying to keep him at first when he makes it there?
Well, look, he's one of the premier stolen base guys in the country, if not the premier stolen base guy in the country. He's been like that since the day he stepped on campus. I think his offense has evolved and his swing has improved over the years. I think he's a complete ball player, and so he is an issue. He is on the scouting report of things you have to make sure you're aware of. But in terms of doing anything special for him compared to any other great runner we've played against this year, it's still about the basics. It's about the fundamentals of pitchers being, quick to the plate. It's a matter of keeping the runners close with good picks, changing your looks, all the things that you do for any base stealer, you have to do with him. There's nothing new to create because it's Enrique Bradfield. It's just the constant management of the running game, of keeping them off balance, of changing your looks, changing how quickly you go to the plate. All those things matter. And we've done a really nice job early in the season. It was a little bit of a concern for ours, but I think our pitchers, Cole's been throwing very well. French has been throwing well. So that's something that we've done a much better job of as the season's gone on. But it will continue to have to be a focus against this team as well.
All right, Mark Kingston, USC baseball coach, previewing the big series against Vanderbilt beginning on Friday night in Nashville. Vanderbilt, once again, an outstanding team. Tough place to play there, Chris. Artificial surface. I mean, everything there is on carpet. There's no dirt anywhere.
I've heard a former player announcing one of the baseball games here the past couple of weekends, and he was asked about that. And he said the one thing he enjoyed was playing on artificial surface. The bounces are truer. Now, they may hop a little bit higher, but he said you kind of knew on a ground ball exactly what kind of spin and hop you'd get, more so than playing on infield dirt. So maybe the Gamecocks will adjust to that. Kingston talked about Thursday's practice and how important that's going to be. But as good as Kingston was, he was trumped by Will Sanders. I encourage people to get over to SportsTalkSC.com and listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, we'll bring that to you tomorrow night. After the break, number 7, Jack Leggett, joins us here on Sports Talk. We'll be back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DM.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. The GOP-controlled House is gearing up to vote on a transgender women in sports bill.
House Republicans are expected to vote next week on a bill aimed at banning biological males from female sports at colleges, universities, and public schools across the country. Republican Congressman Greg Steube from Florida introduced the legislation titled the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act for the third time back in February. The bill seeks to amend the federal civil rights law prohibiting sex-based discrimination to recognize sex as that which is, quote, based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. Edwin Mora, Washington.
New York City has its first rat czar, whose sole mission is to lead the battle against the four-clawed vermin. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Former schoolteacher Kathleen Karate says she couldn't believe the rat czar job was real.
Bloodthirsty is not a word you usually see in a job description.
But says she's ready to take on the city's rat population, which some peg at 2 million, others much more.
I will bring a science and systems-based approach to reducing New York City's rat population, with a strong focus on cutting off the food, water, and shelter rats need to survive.
Mayor Eric Adams, who's had some rat problems of his own, expects her to be merciless when it comes to the city's most cunning enemy.
Rats think they run the city.
Julie Walker, New York.
Frantic calls from witnesses reporting a mass shooting at a Louisville bank were released by police, including one from a woman who was on a virtual meeting and saw the shooter, as well as one from the man's mother who told the 911 operator that her son, quote, currently has a gun and is heading toward the bank, unquote. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 38 points, the NASDAQ dropped 102. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Inflation is pushing up the cost of just about everything: food, gas, clothing. But life insurance, which thanks to inflation you need now more than ever, actually costs less today than it did a few years ago. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. Call SelectQuote now and we'll help you save more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. Get up to $2 million in instant, affordable same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call SelectQuote now at 1-800-507-2266. That's 1-800-507-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-507-2266. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Moscow is passing a bill that will make it easier and quicker to conscript army recruits.
The upper house of Russia's parliament has approved a bill that would allow authorities to issue electronic summonses to draftees and reservists amid the fighting in Ukraine. Moscow's current military service rules require the in-person delivery of notices to those who are called up for duty. In the past, many Russians avoided the draft by staying away from their address of record, and the proposed bill would close that loophole. The legislation has been put on fast track as the Russian military is preparing for an expected Ukrainian counter-offensive, which Ukraine and its Western allies say could start within weeks. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Imprisoned Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny is reportedly in failing health because of a new suspected poisoning. A spokeswoman says the 46-year-old Navalny fell ill last Friday. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Clear and not as cool with the low dipping down to 49. Tomorrow, another warm day with more sun early and clouds. High 80. There's a 30% chance of an evening shower. Friday is the rain out with showers and some storms likely. A bit cooler too with a high of 74. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DM.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Please press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to have you with us here on this Wednesday night at Sports Talk across the state on the Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. More of your phone calls coming up at 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. For you here on Sports Talk, the lucky number for this man, number 7, going to be retired. One of the few baseball retirements of numbers, jerseys at Clemson in the long, proud history of the Clemson baseball program. We welcome in to Sports Talk once again, the Hall of Fame baseball coach, Jack Leggett. Coach, good evening. Great to have you with us. How are you?
I'm doing good, Phil. How are you doing?
We are doing fantastic. Congratulations to you on the honor coming your way
Thanks.
Saturday. How do you feel? How do you feel about what Clemson is doing in honoring you on Saturday?
Well, I'm really excited about it and very appreciative of it. You know, Graham Neff, has been very receptive and very inviting and has made it, one of his goals, I think, when all was changed, to just recognize the good era that we had in baseball. And I'm excited about it for my coaches that were alongside me and also for the players and the fans and all the people that I worked with at Clemson and the coaches that I worked beside. We just had a lot of great moments, a lot of great times together, and it gives us a chance to celebrate that on Saturday. So it's very exciting to me.
Yeah, and some are saying, this kind of lets you bring closure to things at Clemson because it didn't end the way you wanted it to as the coach of the Tigers. This perhaps allows that to happen. In your mind, does this allow you to bring closure to everything with your career at Clemson?
Well, I think it's a really nice gesture, and it does definitely feel really good. And I've felt good ever since Eric has kind of brought me back on staff and I've been part of this team and part of this program now. And so it brings some closure to that, but at the same time, there's more to be done and there's more season and those types of things. But it does bring some closure to that, and I'm very appreciative of it and excited for it. My kids are coming into town, and I've got of course, we're going to have a good time with it. There'll be some little social setting between 2:30 and say 3:30, and then I guess 3:45 before the 4:00 game. We're going to try to do something that'll be really nice, and I'm just excited about it. I'm just excited to be able to share it with, like I say, the team this year and the coaches here who have been so receptive to me and welcomed me back, and so excited to share it with the fans and with my family and all those people that have been really kind to me for a long, long period of time. Over a quarter of a century, I've spent my life on that baseball field, and I've loved every minute of it. And it's been a challenge. It's been awesome moments. And I'm just excited to be able to rethink those things. My mind's going there. These last few days, it's gone there for a long time, but it's going there a lot. And it's emotional for me because I just came into contact with so many good people here at Clemson, so many good fans, so many good coaches, and so many good players and people that I worked with and that worked alongside me and coached alongside me in other sports. It's just been an awesome experience for me, and I'm just excited about it. Coming to fruition on Saturday.
Do you think you'll cry? Have you ever cried on a baseball field before?
There's no crying in baseball.
There we go. Tell him, Coach.
I tell you, to be honest with you, I'm a pretty emotional guy.
I know.
And, I get sappy a little bit. I think it's really important. My players, the moments that I spent here at Clemson and coaching at Western and the University of Vermont, all my players, all the coaches I've had before, all the great fans have been so nice to me here every time I come back. And it's always exciting to sign a kid's shirt or, sign a baseball or take a picture with somebody. It's just really what this was all about. I really enjoyed that during my time here at Clemson. And so it's emotional. I'm going to tell you, I was driving down to do my taxes today, driving to Easley, and I don't know if I should say this on the air, but I did have some tears coming down my out of my eyes, just thinking about everything that's happened in the past in such a good way, and all the people I've come into contact with, and all the memories. And so I get a little emotional. Yes, I got a steel heart, and I'm very competitive, but I'm also very emotional. So I guess it's a combination I'm proud of, because I think you got to have a little bit of touch of everything to be successful, and have compassion. And I love the players that I coached and the coaches that I coached with, and I love people in general, and love the people that I was around at Clemson. And it's a lot of great memories. So this would be a crowning moment.
Well, the Clemson people should appreciate what you did. I mean, from 1994 to 2015, you only missed the NCAA tournament one time. And, of course, multiple College World Series appearances, multiple ACC championships, et cetera, et cetera. I could sit here and read your resume, but that would just bore everybody. But the point is, you did an absolute fantastic job. 955 wins at Clemson. You followed a legend. You took over a program. You coached with Bill Wilhelm. They were smart enough, and Bill Wilhelm had the foresight to bring you on to the staff, knowing that he was going to turn it over to you. Did you what was it like then, working for Coach Wilhelm and then taking over the program? Could you foresee at that point the long run that you ended up having with the Tigers? Was that sort of your vision of your career future, that this was the place for you, and you were going to make it a career lifetime?
Well, it's a good question, because when I came over here as an assistant coach, I had never been an assistant coach. Coach Wilhelm, I believed in him, and he believed in me, and we had a really good relationship from competing and working his camps and so forth. And he had enough faith in me to bring me over and kind of tell me candidly that he was going to coach a couple more years, and he'd like to see me be the head coach. And but there was no guarantees. And Bobby Robinson and Dwight Rainey and Coach Wilhelm, they believed in me. They believed in the job that I did for the couple of years that I was here as the assistant coach. And, I think it was a smart move on their part, because it was a smooth transition. I was able to recruit the kids like Chris Benson, Billy Koch, Shane Monahan, and so forth, and Matthew LaCroix and guys like that. So it became a kind of a natural transition. And it worked out pretty well. We went to Omaha 2 out of the first 3 years, the second and third year. And up until 2010, we were in Omaha. We never missed 3 or 4 years in a row of being out. And so we had a good little run at it. And I really feel like, they were smart in what they did. I don't think I looked and say, I'm going to be here for 20 years or 30 years, or this is my life. I just was 1 year at a time. I was on a 1-year contract for forever, for a long time. And so I never thought twice about just going out and doing your job, working hard, and being respectful to people, and getting along really good with your players, and having great relationships, and winning baseball games. I just never really, looked at it as long term. I just was putting my nose to the grindstone and worked hard, and gave Clemson everything that I had for 22 years as the head coach. And one of the things that doesn't get mentioned much, but, we went to Omaha 6 times, and regionals and all those types of things. But, we went to 9 super regionals, which is hard to do. And, and in the first 14 years of the regionals super regionals were in existence. And so we did have a good run. We had a lot of good players. I was lucky to hire some good assistant coaches that were really good and have been off now doing really good things in their own right. And so it was a good run, and it's tough to look back on it and think of anything negative at all. It was just a really positive time in my life, and I loved my time at Clemson, and loved all the people. And every time I put the uniform on and walked out of that dugout, heard the music, and saw the sun shining, and saw that green grass, it was, I felt like a little kid. And I might be a little older right now, but I feel like I'm 30, and that's part of my problem.
I hear you. I hear you. Go ahead, Chris.
Classic comments from Jack Leggett. He'll have his number 7 jersey retired this weekend, excuse me, by Clemson University during the baseball weekend with Notre Dame. And Coach, never apologize for tears in your eyes. Tax season makes us all depressed. So I totally get that for sure. You're listed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said I had tears after I came out of there too.
Yeah, I understand.
You're listed as program development under Coach Bakich's staff. What exactly does that allow you to do with the team that we get to see on the field?
Well, it allows me to be, from the very beginning, Eric has made it, we had a relationship back in 2002 where he was a volunteer coach with me and Sully and Tim Corbin, and we had a really good team. And we went off with, Tim for 7 or 8 years after that, and then went to Maryland for 3 and Michigan for 10. And we've kept in contact. We've had a great relationship. There was a lot of testosterone in one office there with me, Sully, Corbin, and Eric. And so it was just a great mix of friends. We've remained friends, all of us, all 4 of us remain in contact, and we have great respect for each other and care for each other deeply. And so Eric made it very clear from the beginning that he wanted me involved in a program, and publicly said it during his press conference and all these types of things. And I've given him many, many opportunities to say, because I don't want to be, hovering over him or in his shadow or, that kind of thing. It's his program. He's in charge. He's the head coach. My job is to, and what he's wanted me to do is to mentor the coaches. He has values. He's value in my experience and, in coaching. And I think it's proved valuable to them. I think it's proved valuable to the players. So I can talk to the coaches. I can meet with the team. I meet with the team, do a 7-on-7, basically with them down the right field line or down the foul line before games, and give them a story or talk to them about a theme or, give them some kind of antidote to motivate them, whatever it might be. And I think the players enjoy it. I enjoy it. And I can talk to the players. I can mentor them. I can talk to the team. I can evaluate practice. I can tell the coaches what I think, and then they can tell the players. I can't actually go out in the field and do my magic out of shortstop or work with the infielders or, hit fungos or throw batting practice, that kind of thing. Because we've had compliance meetings about what I can and cannot do. I can put the pants on and just don't wear a jersey. And I just can be there to help the team win that day and in any way that I can. And give my tidbits during the game. We talk. Eric's wanted me right next to him during the games. And again, I've tried to do everything I can to make sure that that's not something that's coming from me. And we have such a great relationship that we can talk during the game. We can say things during the game. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Or, but he's in charge. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's very organized. He's holding his kids accountable. He's extremely hardworking. He's tremendously competitive. He's the right leader for Clemson baseball, and I'm just excited to be part of it and to feel relevant and needed and valued and be a part of it. And I love being around players. I love being around kids. So they gravitate to me. They ask good questions. They want to learn. They, I think they value my experience and value the things that I'm trying to tell them and teach them when I can. And so it's been really good, and I just am appreciative of the opportunity to be around. Now, how long I do it or how long it goes on or whatever, I don't know. I'm here for this season to try to see it get back on track where I think it can, and I really feel like the team is starting to play much better right now, and I see some really positive things coming. I get a few guys healthy that have been dinged up pitching wise that are coming back, which will make a difference. And they're starting to mature a little bit. They're starting to get more confident and won a few good games lately, a couple Florida State and yesterday at Georgia, and have a big weekend against Notre Dame this weekend and need to claw back into into that ACC race and get ourselves in a better position.
Fairly obvious you've got a tremendous amount of respect for Eric Bakich. When you look at him and his coaching career to this point, do you see a younger version of yourself?
Sound like each other.
Well, we're very similar in a lot of ways. Our sense of humor is the same. Our competitive juices is our passion for baseball, or passion for the fundamentals of the game. Our expectation levels are extremely high. He's got a great deal of pride and passion in what he does. He wants to learn. He's receptive. You know, to bring me on board and to have me around, you have to be a head coach that doesn't have an ego and that has a lot of confidence. You know, you can't, if you don't have those two things, you probably aren't going to, you know, want to have me hanging around you. And because he values my opinion and values my thoughts, and we talk an awful lot. And he's always paying attention. He's always listening. He's always, that's a good thought. I hadn't thought about that, or whatever it might be. But at the same time, I'm learning. I see things, and he does extremely well with the team, and the lessons he teaches these players, not just about baseball, but everything else in the classroom is really good. So I don't know if he's a younger version of me or whatever you want to call it, but I do see a lot of me in him, I guess, or him and me, in that we both have an extreme amount of energy and love for the game and passion, and want to treat people right, and are competitive and want to do the best for Clemson and for the players and for the program. So in that respect, I think we're a lot alike, and we do think a lot alike on a lot of things. So I don't know. I hate to I hate to label him like that, because, you know, I want to give him a chance in life. You know, I want to give him a chance, give him a chance to do well. But he's an awesome guy, awesome friend, and always will be.
Visiting with Jack Leggett a few more minutes here on Sports Talk. You know, we can't talk to you about your career and let you get away without talking about the history between Clemson and South Carolina, and the great rivalry in baseball, and the great rivalry between you and Ray Tanner. Maybe you two didn't see it as a rivalry. As a media observer, I certainly did, because covering you two and covering those series when you two were running your respective teams was fantastic. Just the grittiness, the competitiveness, the maybe egos, you know, going back. I don't know, however you want to word it. It was just fantastic to see the competition between every aspect of your programs, and you were both great programs at the same time. What was that like, competing against him, competing against them, when both programs were at their very best, going to the College World Series together, regular basis? What was that like from your standpoint?
Well, it was really, really intense and exciting, because every time we played each other, you know, there was something on the line. You know, both teams were Omaha type talented teams, super regional type talented teams. You know, we were both competitive coaches. We had competitive players. You know, I think we had mutual respect for each other, although, you know, the rivalry is you know, got some heat to it. But at the same time, I think we both respected each other's teams. At least we did. And respected the fact that we had some unbelievable battles. We were talking about some of those the other day. They got us, you know, in some situations, and some of the tough situations that hurt a little bit. We got them at different times. And I think back and forth, it went back and forth a lot. And we both had some great moments. I think it was great for the state of South Carolina. I mean, with such a small state comparatively to the country, you had two teams that were banging away at going to Omaha, banging away in Omaha, banging away in regionals, super regionals once in a while, those types of things. So it was great for the state. It was great for baseball, college baseball. It brought South Carolina to the forefront. And the rivalry was definitely intense, and you know, the way that this rivalry should be. And so I think it's going to get back to there, and it will always be like that. And as both teams, you know, South Carolina's having a good year. They got a good team, and have been playing well. And I think I can see, where Clemson's going with their program. So I can see this thing on the horizon that's getting ready to boil over again, which will be great for the state and great for, college baseball and for the weekend that they get together and compete. And so I think, and looking back, I look at it with nothing but positive thoughts. There's so many good players on both teams. You're talking about Cleo Greens and Jeff Bakers, Michael Johnsons, and you're talking about, Jackie Bradley's and all the good players that South Carolina had during those times, the Kip Bachnights and all those guys that pitched and played so well for them as well. I think there's just a lot of mutual respect if you got those guys together and they were talking about baseball when they're 40 or whatever, 45 or whatever they are now, or maybe a little more, then I think that they would both on both sides tell you it was an unbelievable rivalry, something they think about a lot and have great memories of, and that they had mutual respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, you certainly have countless memories from your time as head coach at Clemson, but one that sticks out to me was back in 2010 when your team beat Alabama to advance to the College World Series in Clemson. And then the team, and I believe yourself included, all rushed the outfield to celebrate with the fans on the cheap seats bus, which has since been made a permanent fixture at Doug Kingsmore. Well, Clemson fans sure seem to love you over the years and have now welcomed you back with open arms. What would you say about your relationship with that Clemson fan base throughout the years?
That was awesome. I mean, I just loved coming to work every day. I loved, I'd be driving through this small town of Clemson in my truck or something, and I'd see a father with 3 or 4 little leaguers or kids, and they'd see you and notice you and, hey, there's Coach Leggett, and I'd pull over and sign something for him or talk to the kids or take a picture, whatever it was. Because I just loved the fan base, the passion that the Clemson people have. They love their sports. They love their teams. It's their professional team, as is South Carolina for their school. There's no professional baseball team in the state, no professional football team or hockey team or basketball team or whatever in the state. So the schools become their passion and the school that the program that they want to follow. So our people were exceptionally good. We filled the stands. We had great crowds. They were very passionate. I remember, when we won that game against Alabama to go to Omaha and getting Gatorade dumped on you, and the people were going crazy, and everybody's excited about it. And that's what was Clemson baseball to me, and that's what I remember of it. And it's because of the cheap seats and the Cajun Cafe. The Cajun Cafe was unbelievable, and we started that, and the smoke going out there. The students were good. The Chapman grandstands added a little bit more depth to the field, and then the stadium got improved, and a lot of facility upgrades, and so it just became fan friendly even more. So I've always thought we had the best facility and the best college baseball field in the ACC, and it's just great fans, great people that I worked with and worked for and worked around, and other coaches. And I mean, you're talking about some unbelievable coaches that I was around, Dabo and Brad Brownell has been a really good friend of mine. And you got Mike Noonan now, is one of the national champions, Trevor Adair, Bob Pollock, Larry Penley, Jolene Hoover. I mean, it goes on and on of the great coaches that I've been around, that I learned from, and we help mentor each other a little bit through everything. So the fan base has been awesome. It's great people. Great. Can't wait to see them again this weekend.
Well, we wish you the best. It's your day on Saturday with the Tigers. Congratulations once again. Thank you for the great time tonight. Look forward to seeing you again soon, and best of luck. Enjoy everything on Saturday, sir.
I appreciate it, Phil. It's good talking to you guys. We'll do it again.
Yes, sir. Thank you much. Number 7.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Clear and not as cool with the low dipping down to 49 tomorrow. Another warm day with more sun early and clouds. High 80. There's a 30% chance of an evening shower. Friday is the rain out with showers and some storms likely. A bit cooler too with a high of 74. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. One of the cool things about working at the Melting Pot is we don't have to push our servers to sell dessert. We don't even have to push them to suggest dessert. You all know it's coming, a big bowl of melted chocolate with all the dippers that you could dream of. How about a flaming turtle, creamy flavor of milk chocolate is melted with caramel flambéed and topped with candied pecans? Or a bananas Foster, white chocolate fondue melted with bananas and dulce de leche, then flambéed. The Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting authorities say an evacuation order continues to affect more than 1,000 people within a half-mile radius of a large industrial fire in an Indiana city near the Ohio border. Crews have been working to douse piles of burning plastics in Richmond, Indiana, on the eastern edge of the state's border. If you're expecting a tax refund, it could be smaller than last year, and with inflation still high, that money won't go as far as it did a year ago. The 90 million taxpayers who have filed as of March 31st got refunds that were an average of nearly 10% less than last year. That's in part due to pandemic relief programs expiring. The filing deadline for most taxpayers is Tuesday. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 38 points, the Nasdaq dropped 102, the S&P 500 lower by 16. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, honey, you seem a little snotty.
I love living in South Carolina, but it's always allergy season. I've tried everything.
You know, the last time I stopped by True Pharmacy, the pharmacist told me about a new prescription product they have to help with allergies that's different from anything you've tried before.
Great. I'll give the pharmacist a call right now. They always take the time to answer all of my questions.
True Pharmacy, 2 locations in West Columbia on Charleston Highway or 3217 Devine Street, or visit us at truerxsc.com.
Hi, this is General Manager here at The Point. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is with great people. To that end, I'm looking in the upcoming months with like-minded business owners, people who want to grow their respective businesses. Would you consider meeting with me in the very near future to discuss how The Point can partner with you so that you can exceed your own expectations in the coming year? Let's sit down over a glass of tea, a cup of coffee. Let's talk about how your business and my business can work together to meet our collective goals. I'm not looking simply for advertisers. I can find them by simply cold calling people a few times a week. What I'm looking for are business partners who share the vision that I have for my own small business. That vision is very simple. Local businesses need to support local businesses, period. If you haven't been telling people about your business via the radio, let's make it happen affordably and local. Call me directly. 563-8558, 563-8558. I'd appreciate the chance to meet with you. Maybe we can help each other.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help all your tax issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 883.
It's the Cigar Militia, Columbia's premium cigar store. It's that time of year. It's golf weather. Are you going golfing this weekend? Be the guy bringing the sticks, not the guy that borrows. Come by and refill your humidor or just pull off the interstate for a smoke and a cold beverage. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help you. You can be a novice or a seasoned veteran. Our friendly staff will walk you through the humidor and answer your questions. We're at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard, next to the Melting Pot.
Recruiting report here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. Seawells, the place to be tomorrow for your daily luncheon buffet. We want you to be fed. We want you to be healthy. And there's one place to go to be fed and to be healthy, and that's Seawells, because the food is filling, but the food is healthy. Okay? A+ graded, FDA approved, corn approved, approved by Pat. And whenever Chris is eating there, he's approved of it as well. So take our endorsement to heart. Go by and enjoy the best daily luncheon buffet in South Carolina for only $13, 11 till 2. And tomorrow's Big Thursday, because they've got the roast beef, they've got the pork chops, and they got the fried chicken all tomorrow at one place. That is Seawells. And if you got something big coming up, or maybe not so big but important, and you need the very best in the catering business, the Seawells folks will take care of everything that you need. 803-771-7385, 803-771-7385. Just give them a call. Let Cal and the staff work with you and take care of your business. All right, recruiting. Still no word in on Maryland transfer defensive tackle Tank Booker, who has said he's going to announce today South Carolina, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Purdue, and Ohio State. So he's not putting anything out just yet. Clemson is in the Final Five with cornerback Corian Gibson. He's out of Texas. He's got Clemson, Alabama, Texas, TCU, and Ohio State. And he's going to take an official visit to Clemson in June. He was in recently for an unofficial visit. USC offered tight end Willie Rodriguez, 6'4", 238, Covington, Kentucky. He also has offers from USF, Texas Tech, Illinois, Kentucky, Coastal Carolina, Liberty, Georgia Tech, Army, Vanderbilt, UCF, Duke, Minnesota, others. He's been to Ohio State, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Penn State, and Pitt. USC also offered tight end Amir Jackson of Portal, Georgia. The transfer portal's gotten so big, Chris, it's got its own town now. Portal, Georgia. I have no idea where Portal, Georgia is.
Is that where everybody goes? And then when they find a new school, they can leave town?
I guess. Or maybe that's where you go when you're in the portal and you can't find a new school. I just go move to Portal, Georgia. USC also offered 2025 offensive tackle Solomon Thomas, 6'6", 290 of Jacksonville. 2025 defensive tackle Amir Adams of Lake City made it in to visit USC on Tuesday. Today, safety wide receiver Mike Matthews of Lilburn, Georgia, was at Clemson, and he was at Alabama last week. Safety Jeremiah Curry of Bluffton was offered by Coastal Carolina. Aiken wide receiver Braylon Staley was at Florida today, and he was at Miami last weekend. Of course, he's a primary Clemson target. There you go with the recruiting report for you tonight here on Sports Talk. All right, let's go.
And the population of Portal, Georgia, Phil, is just 638 as of the 2010 census. So I'm guessing that's not where everybody goes when they enter the portal, because there are tremendously bigger staff of people in the portal than in Portal, Georgia.
Where is it located? Did you find that out?
On the southeastern part of the state.
Down in southeast Georgia, Portal, Georgia. Okay. Let's go to Ron in Greenville, and then George Bryan down at Harbortown. Going to check in with him. Hey, Ron, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Phil, good to talk to you. Cincinnati 2, Atlanta nothing in the first inning.
Okay,
Red's got a couple runs at top of first.
Okay.
Okay, I heard Jack Draggett say that he doesn't wear a jersey down on the benches. Why is that not?
I imagine only coaches, only active coaches, people coaching the game can wear a jersey during a game in a dugout setting or on a field. So I guess that's why.
I mean, is there a limit of how many you can have?
My guess is there must be. We'd have to look that up, but you can only have X number of coaches who are actively working with your team in practice and in games. And so he's not one of those. So I guess that keeps him from wearing a jersey that would designate him as such.
Yeah, I tell you, I got along with Jack Draggett real good when I was up. He was at Clemson, and I know you did too. He said he's talking about his sense of humor. I didn't know he had one.
I guess he does have one hidden underneath that that outer crust, you might say.
Yeah. Did Gamecock Larry call in today?
He did. First call of the night.
Good. I was worried to death about it. We didn't get to hear the first part because of the South Carolina baseball show, but I was worried to death about Gamecock Larry. I mean, if he'd listened to that seventh inning last night between Clemson and South Carolina, he might have had a stroke or maybe even a heart attack.
That was some come from behind win for those Clemson women, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just saw the rerun on the news last night, and it was something else.
Yeah. Tremendous come from behind win for Clemson. Looked like South Carolina was going to take it. They had that really good pitcher going for them, but Valerie Cagle, that's why she's one of the best players in the country. She delivered in the clutch. Thank you very much, Ron. Good hearing from you. And let's do this. Let's hit the break, and then when we come back from the break, we'll get George with us and little John Rahm for you as well. How about that? We'll go to our break, and we'll come back and do that here in just a moment here on Sports Talk. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate the phone call. Appreciate the phone call. Let's complete the word there, Corn. And in college baseball tonight, you got Little Rock is beating 6th-ranked Arkansas 11-3. How about
they
that?
They got run ruled last night by Arkansas in 7 innings. So evidently they took out their frustration, at least early in Fayetteville this go-round.
Turnabout fair play there in Arkansas. Okay, we'll check in on RBC Heritage goings-on after the break. Be right back.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams, and you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
Major Downer here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is just around the corner. To make sure that your boat is ready, check your registration sticker and ensure it's current. Find your registration card, make sure your life jackets are in good shape, and check your fire extinguisher as well. For more information on boating or boat titling questions, visit dnr.sc.gov/boating.
George Bryant for Tsunami Bar Sports. Our inventor, David Abernathy, has always said Tsunami Bar technology allows us to take the training to the grass. Now I know through my sport of golf that natural agility can be converted to athletic ability. And why is this, Tsunami, Robbie?
Transferring the training to the grass. This may be the most undervalued characteristic of the Tsunami flexible bar technology. The Tsunami bar action loads and unloads at the concentric and eccentric transition points. This is what we call reversal forces. And the Tsunami bar is the only bar and training device that I know of that can train these reversal forces adequately at speed.
Hey, this is Phil Kornbluth. The Tsunami bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait. Order today.
Hi, folks. This is Mike Morgan. I want to tell you about an exciting new product from my friends at Vision Air Solutions. Staying healthy in my line of work is so critical, and probably in yours as well. A large factor in all that is making sure we're breathing in healthy and safe air every day. That's where Vision Air Solutions comes in. They make sure your home has air purification for all the air pollution you can't see. Viruses, mold, bacteria, stale odors, cooking smells, and volatile organic compounds. They make sure your home is full of clean air and also offer HVAC duct cleaning and sanitation as well. Make sure you and your family are breathing clean air today by giving Vision Air Solutions a call today. 803-220-1811. That's 803-220-1811. Tell them Mike sent you.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit PlayResponsiblySC.com.
Straight down the middle, it went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit, and that's when my caddy lost sight of it.
All right, it is time to turn our attention away from Augusta National. It was fun while it lasted. A little wet, a little chilly, a little windy. Now we head down to beautiful, warm, tropical breezes, Harbor Town, Hilton Head, South Carolina, one of the great stops on the PGA Tour every year, maybe even better this year as a designated event by the PGA. So the purse is way up and the competition will be way up because you got the vast majority of the top 20 in the world in the field. And let's welcome in our man who has walked inside those ropes at Harbor Town competing in the RBC Heritage in the past, none other than George Bryan III. Good evening, GB3.
Oh, good evening. It's a privilege, and there's more than one George in this chat. There's a G4 who was holding the bag in 2004, and he's on the bag this week too. So you got to say hey to G3 and 4, Phil.
G4,
a lot of G's going on.
G4, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just hanging out in beautiful Hilton Head.
It is beautiful. Wish we were there. George, you've been around it. You and G4, you've been walking around. You got Wesley down there playing. Fill us in on course conditions, how things are setting up for the opening round tomorrow morning.
All right, so you ready, G4? I'll let him handle it. He's the one on the bag. He's right there on top of it. And it's quite a privilege just to be here. The course is in great shape, absolutely perfect. Never seen the greens this way. And I'll turn it over to G4 now to let him be more specific.
All right.
The course we were talking about, or Wesley was talking about, he's never seen a course like this. In the 5 or 6 or 7 years since he's been playing, and but the greens, it's set up like legitimately like a major championship. The greens are running like 11, like 12, 13, firm and fast. Fairways are perfect unless the areas around the greens are tight, firm, fast, and the rough is up like probably about an inch of what it normally is, and I think 2.5 inches is what they say. So like in the past, if you miss fairway, you're able to work it around to those trees, where now it's going to be more difficult. So course condition, very, very hard. I think at least a stroke harder than it's been in the past.
Whoa,
maybe more. Shoot.
G4,
hey,
let me ask you. Let me ask G4. Hang on, G3. G4, working with Wesley and walking the course with him and watching him in the practice rounds and all that. What are you seeing? How's he feeling as a former champion there? Do you get a sense he's in for a big tournament?
The vibes are high. We're feeling great, having fun. Game was pretty terrible today, so I don't know what that's going to lead into tomorrow. But the game overall, he didn't play good today, but the game the last 3 days is really solid. His driver it'll be fine. I think he'll drive it well tomorrow, but his irons are really solid and his wedges are good. And around the greens, he's very confident. So if he keeps it in play, I think he's going to play really, really well. He feels comfortable with the putter. But like I said, the greens are really, they're fast and firm and tricky. So I think you can hit a lot of good putts and not make any out here. But no, it's going to be. I think he's going to have a good week here. The whole family's down, friends are down. It's a really relaxed environment. He's having fun. So I expect him to play well. I expect nothing less, and I'm going to do what I can to make sure he plays as good as he can.
Absolutely. Take it away, G3.
Speaking of playing, G4 took down the Caddy tournament yesterday. So the Heritage Classic sponsors a very special event, gives the caddies a chance to tee it up and play for score and some cash. And Hey, you're talking to the 2023 Harbortown Caddy Champion, too. What do you say, G4?
Heck yeah. First annual Caddy Classic champion.
Hey, actually, we got to go ahead. Luke, who is Ben Martin, I just absolutely hooked it out of bounds. Luke, I'm saying
Hopkins.
both. Hopkins, Luke Hopkins, and George teamed up, actually. So it wasn't just G4. It was Luke Hopkins, who is caddying this week for Ben Martin. And by the way, if you hadn't been following, Ben's on a heater run, but they played junior golf together. And so Luke and George teamed up, and they, in a playoff, George, I forgot who you said you all took down a 3-hole playoff.
I really don't know. I don't know any of these caddies out here, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah, we won the playoff.
Hey, so Phil, there you have it. There's not just G4 on Wesley's bag, but he's on his game. Now, I got a pretty good question. G4, what's going on between the chemistry, you and he? Y'all tend to play pretty good together, and why don't you just do it all the time? Why not every event?
There's a lot of work, a lot of traveling around to carry golf bags for 7 days in a row. Especially for Wesley, he's not the easiest to work for. The guy, if I were to, he would be the ideal person to caddy for if I wanted to do it. And I think he would let me, but I want to play golf, I want to film golf, and I want to be home more. So that's the reason I don't go all in and just go straight caddying. But he's your ideal person because he doesn't need a lot on the course as far as like numbers and caddy stuff. He doesn't need someone to kind of walk the course 8 days before and do all the prep work, which I think he would appreciate if I did, but I don't get paid enough to do that. And but he's fun. When he plays his best, he just needs someone to hang out and have fun with out there, and keep him relaxed. And so that's kind of what I do. Is just we hang out, try to keep his mind off golf, and give advice when he asks. But yeah, it's pretty fun job.
You want to re-tee on that? Keep his mind off golf.
Yeah, that's again. Yeah, that's. I think what good caddies, they know when to step in, and especially there'll be moments, won't be a lot, but there'll be times where he has a bad hole or something goes wrong, or it's critical to kind of get his mind redirected a little bit in some way, shape, or form. And so that's kind of when I'll step in. But it is interesting. It's a tightrope that I don't want to like be too loosey goosey and just have fun and joking around. It is serious, but at the same time, you don't want to be all business all the time, because that's not what he thrives in. That's not what, honestly, that's what I enjoy doing. So I got to make it fun for myself somehow.
Hey, let's do a little business. This supplemental segment is brought to you by Tsunami Bar Sports, but also we just had the best Mexican that gave me the energy and the ability to think. And remind me of the name of the Mexican place you found for us, G4.
Amigos, the Cantina and Grill or something.
Yeah, that flipped the switch. That got my head in the right place to. Hey, Phil, you got the real G on the phone, and we got to compliment the Amigos, because that gave me the idea to invite the one that really knows what he's talking about as far as golf. Hey, I got one more question, G4. What's all this with all these flight scopes and these TrackMans? What's the one, the quad? These players are toting them around in practice rounds. What's up with that?
Everyone wants to know numbers, and when they hit one solid, how far they're going, and especially if it's windy out. The ball might, it might be 175, but wind's blowing 10 miles an hour into, and it comes, and so it kind of takes some of the guesswork out, where like, oh, I hit this like a 170-yard shot, and it went only 160 yards or whatever, 155. So it's a way to kind of gauge what the wind does, or what a certain yardage shot does in the wind, but also like off tees, they want to see if they're hitting spin numbers, hitting, if their hybrid is going 260 or 240 off the tee. To see what their carry distances with their drivers are. I don't know. It's very interesting. I think it's just another way that they can just see, get feedback on their shots, not just how close into the hole, but, how far exactly it's traveling and, if they're swinging it properly according to, the machines.
Let me ask you both let me ask you something real quick, George, before we run out of time. I got about 4 minutes because I want to bring this up real quick. I just noticed here that G4, you and Wesley, you guys go off in the last group of the day, 2:01. You go off number 10. And is that meaningful in any way in that you're going to make the turn through 17, 18 in the mid-afternoon instead of late afternoon when that wind kind of really kicks up? Is that an advantage for you guys in any way, you think?
I think that's definitely a benefit. It's been blowing pretty good these last couple of days. And those holes do get 17 is really hard with the wind, like downwind and as hard as the greens are right now. 18 has been dead into, these two practice rounds. So I think the last wind on those holes definitely makes a big difference. And then I think it's big the second round, getting started on hole 1 in the morning. I think for whatever reason, it's just a good flow of the course. Playing it that way, I think you can get your round started because the back 9 is tougher in my opinion. The par 3s on the back are tough. I don't know. I think 10 through 14 really are tricky, and so to get those holes when you're loosened up and you're kind of in the groove, or at least know what your ball's doing, I think is big. And so I think it's a good start for us this week.
George, let me mention this too real quick while we're talking golf. SEC Women's Tournament opened today in Birmingham. 4th-ranked USC tied for 5th, +5. They're 5 shots back of the leader Vanderbilt at this point. And the Big South Women's Tournament being played at the Links at Stony Point in Greenwood, that opened today. And Upstate, the best showing of a state team, they are in 4th, 6 shots back of the leaders, Gardner Webb and High Point. So we got the women's tournaments getting underway. ACC will start tomorrow. So G3, G4, we got about a minute and a half. So G3, I'll let you take us through the putt out here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. G4, you have any predictions?
I think we're gonna play well. We're gonna have fun. I think we're gonna have a chance to play some good golf. It's gonna come down to the putt. If they're falling for us, I think we'll have a good week.
Hey, one of the things I noticed is Wesley is definitely more relaxed. He's hitting I'd say what I call the standard shots and the difficult shots. Definitely got better flow and he's softer. He's not as edgy with it. You see the same thing?
Yeah, no, for sure. He's looking good. He looks like he's relaxed and he's comfortable here, which is big.
One of the strongest feels. Phil, I think we'll be mixing it up tomorrow and even Friday evening. I had a conversation with John Rahm that most impressive as he arrived on Tuesday. In fact, gained a whole nother level. I already think the world of him, but I'll share more tomorrow night and Friday night. So you got to stay tuned to pick that up. And G4, thanks so much for joining us, Phil. I'm going to sign us both off for G4 and 3. See them high. Talk to you tomorrow night and shoot them low.
Okay. Thank you, George. Tank Booker, Razorback. He committed to Arkansas just about 5-6 minutes ago. Defensive tackle headed to Arkansas. We're headed out. We'll see you tomorrow.
Someone will be right with you. The point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The
Point. Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. The second of two black Democrats expelled from the Republican-led Tennessee House will be returning to the legislature. Ed Donahue reports.
Hundreds of supporters marched with Justin Pearson through Memphis to the Shelby County Board of Commissioners meeting. The vote was 7-0 for his return. Pearson and Justin Jones were expelled for supporting gun control protesters following a deadly school shooting in Nashville.
Now that the Shelby County Commission has done their job, I'm so glad we get to get back to doing our job.
Audio from WATN-TV. Pearson has a message for House leadership.
A movement is rising. See, they tried to kill democracy.
Republicans have so far refused to consider any new restrictions on firearms following the Nashville school shooting. I'm Ed Donahue.
Senator Lindsey Graham is praising fellow South Carolina Republican Tim Scott for his announcement he may run for president in 2024. Bob Agnew reports.
Senator Graham says of his fellow GOP senator, "My friend and colleague Tim Scott has one of the most compelling stories in American politics." During a time of heated racial tensions, Senator Scott, the only black GOP senator, has sought to bridge the gap on race using his own story as proof of the merit of conservative solutions. In a video announcing his exploratory committee, Scott says, quote, "I know America is a land of opportunity, not a land of oppression. I know it because I lived it." Bob Agnew reporting.
Authorities say an evacuation order continues to affect more than 1,000 people within a half-mile radius of a large industrial fire in Richmond, Indiana, near the Ohio border. Crews have been working to douse piles of burning plastics. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 38 points. The Nasdaq dropped 102. The S&P 500 down by 16 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Inflation is pushing up the cost of just about everything, but life insurance actually costs less today than it did a few years ago. Now is the time to get the insurance you need. Call Select Quote and we'll help you save more than 50% on term life insurance. You can get up to $2 million in same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-646-9595 or go to SelectQuote.com now. That's 1-800-646-9595. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Ukraine has promised to investigate a gruesome video circulating on social media that purportedly shows the execution of a Ukrainian soldier.
In Kyiv, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says there is something that no one in the world could ignore, how easily these beasts kill. This video, the execution of a Ukrainian prisoner, the world must see. This is a video of Russia as it is. What kind of creatures are these? This is a video of Russia trying to make that the new norm, the habit of destroying life. Zelensky adds, those responsible will be held accountable. The Kremlin has called the video horrible, but says it needs to be verified. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Russian dissident Alexei Navalny is reported to be suffering from yet another poisoning, this time while being in a Russian prison. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Inflation eased last month, posting its smallest increase since September.
Cheaper gas and food prices in March provided some relief for consumers. The government says consumer prices rose just 0.1% last month, down from a nearly 0.5% increase in February. However, excluding volatile food and energy costs, core inflation remains high. Core prices were up 0.4% from February and up about 5.5% from last March. Prices in the service sector are keeping core inflation high. That trend is expected to result in the Federal Reserve raising its benchmark interest rate for a 10th straight time when it meets in May. Mike Hemp in Washington.
South Korea says North Korea has launched a ballistic missile off the northeast coast. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff says the launch was made on Thursday, but gave no further details. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. One of the cool things about working at the Melting Pot is we don't have to push our servers to sell dessert. We don't even have to push them to suggest dessert. You all know it's coming, a big bowl of melted chocolate with all the dippers that you could dream of. How about a flaming turtle, creamy flavor of milk chocolate is melted with caramel flambéed and topped with candied pecans? Or a bananas Foster, white chocolate fondue melted with bananas and dulce de leche, then flambéed. The Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial